Welcome to the Falling Up podcast, where we have conversations about turning obstacles into opportunities. And on today's show, we have the pleasure of being joined by Mrs. Jacqueline Polvari Purcell. Jacqueline is the executive director and founder of Evolution Reentry Services, an organization dedicated to helping justice-impacted women and their families rebuild their lives after incarceration. From support groups to education and groundbreaking workforce development programs, Jacqueline's work is transformative and inspiring. With over 30 years of experience as a property title researcher and a strong background in criminal justice, Jacqueline has become a leading voice in reentry services. Her journey through the legal system, her resilience, and her unwavering dedication to advocacy and restorative justice are truly remarkable. Despite facing significant obstacles, she has triumphed and now uses her experiences to pave the way for others. Jacqueline's achievements are many, including founding the nationally recognized Evolution Reentry Services, earning multiple advanced degrees, and being inducted into the Connecticut Hall of Change. She's also the host of the Criminal Justice Cafe podcast, where she continues to share her expertise and passion for reform. Today, we have the opportunity to dive into Jacqueline's personal professional journey, explore those obstacles that she overcame, and the incredible work that she continues to do for the community at large. So once again, let's welcome Jacqueline to the Falling Up podcast. Welcome, Jacqueline.
Hi, Kevin. Thank you for having me.
It's an absolute pleasure, and we're honored to have you. I will say Ben seen your questionnaire was filled out, and to get onto the show, and life be lifing. So, I believe in divine timing. So we've been had you we got to reach out to her. We got to reach out to her. So I'm so glad that we are here at this moment.
Me too.
Just to, chop it up. So let the audience know. Tell us where you're from, your hometown, where you grew up at.
God, I'm from Branford, Connecticut. I grew up in East Haven, Connecticut, one town over, and then I moved to Branford and been here. That sums it up. I don't know. I've got 3 kids, my husband, the kids are all adults now. So I've been really fortunate that they're really good kids. And I don't know, after I found myself making some poor choices and in business, and ended up going through the legal system 2008. Well, 2012 is when really I ended up getting in trouble, and then didn't self-surrender until 2015. So for about 6 years, I was waiting. And I went to Danbury Federal Prison, and I realized, wow, these women are amazing here. The strength and resilience of the women I met were something I've never seen before. And I learned so much being there. And it was hard. I didn't go for a long time. So I was there for about 7 months, and I realized how many women I was leaving that were there for years. And I decided, and I made a promise that I was going to attempt, of course, you don't know anything, when you're coming home, I'm going to attempt to change the system. And I've built Evolution Reentry, and that was about 10 years ago. And we are still plugging along. So,
well,
it's me.
I will say you joined those women with the resilience trait, right? To go through that, whether you're in there 1 day or 100 days, right? There's this unspoken thing that when you go to prison, you just automatically come home after your sentence, and sometimes you don't come home. Whether it's violence, whether it's medical, whatever the case may be. So to get through it, just in that, and then to come home with that mission to help others, that's also a super strong trait of resilience.
Well, I think you come home and you're never the same person, no matter what happens. And I don't think it really is the incarceration piece. I think it's the transition piece. You're constantly being transitioned through this legal system, and nothing is the same. So, you're in pre-sentence and rules are one way. Then you get transitioned to incarceration. The rules every day are a different day. Then you come home and you're in a halfway house and the rules are completely different. Then you're transitioned again to probation, rules completely different. Then you're finally ready to be free, and you realize this felony is going to be the rest of my life.
Yeah.
So when does reentry stop? And that is, I am on the quest to find that answer. When are you no longer in reentry? I'm home 10 years. So when am I not in reentry? And I still consider myself in reentry. So I don't know if you have that answer, Kevin. We can end it right now.
No, the work that we do is looking for that answer, right?
Right.
No, I too been home for 10 years myself, and you get reminded, right, when you go for certain jobs or certain rental applications or anything where your past is a factor. You get reminded, even no matter how much accolades, how much great work you do in the community, is always this reminder that you made some poor choices. And it's why we fight the fight. It's a tough fight, but it's a fight worth having.
It really is. I mean, when I came home, I didn't expect there to be so many barriers. I had 2 master's degrees before I went in, and I recognized that my life started over in 2015. So when I came home, I went back to school and I got my master's in criminal justice. And even getting into school I'm 57. So, when I was applying for schools, my alma mater from 20 years ago denied me.
Really?
And I got my master's in social work and they denied me. And wow. So finally, Albertus Magnus, who I give a shout out every time I speak anywhere, because that small little beautiful college never once asked me. And when I was transparent, because I always tried to be, they wrapped their arms around me and lifted me up. And without that support from the community and my family support, it is so very difficult to rebuild your life.
Yes. And shout out to Albertus Magnus.
Yeah.
Albertus is dear to the Winning Ways family because we get interns from Albertus. So shout outs to them. They've been awesome to us as well.
Yeah.
So let's take a step back pre-incarceration, because you mentioned the two master degrees, your career. Like, what was your mindset and what was your life looking like pre-incarceration?
Well, there's my 5 years pre-incarceration, and then there's earlier than that. So
yeah, true. Actually, you know what? Let's talk about that pre-incarceration, because one of the things that stuck out to me when you said that, it flashed me back to my experience. I bailed out, and I was out on bail for almost 2 years. And the anxiety I had for 2 years was extreme, right?
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I went to prison and started to have my routine and just say, okay, I'm here now, that anxiety started to dissipate.
Same.
Okay. Can you talk us through that? Like, what was your experience with that 5 years, right? 5 years out?
Yeah, it was funny because my crime was in 2008. The mortgage industry exploded, and I got caught up in that as a paralegal. And so from that point on, because there was other people that the government also, I got caught up because somebody gave them my name and so forth. It's like that ladder, and once they looked at my computer, then there was files on my computer and so forth. So you're waiting for everybody. And I didn't get sentenced till 2000. I didn't get charged till 2012. And I pled guilty immediately because I was guilty and I wasn't going to go through any, I always try to teach my kids that it's not the mistake you make, or the bad choice, because I believe they're not mistakes, they're poor choices with free will.
Same.
It's not so much the poor choice that you make, but it's more about how you handle that. So you have to take accountability when you make poor choices. And I did that. And figured, okay, so let me start getting this done with. But I waited and waited. And then we went back and forth negotiating between my attorney and the prosecutor. It was 5 years.
Wow.
So now I take that into consideration when I say how long I was away, because that 5 years, my mind wasn't always here with my family because I was a complete mess, waiting and waiting and waiting, not knowing what your fate is. And then I got sentenced. And I help a lot of women that are in pre-sentence because of that. And my big thing is families. I think people don't understand that family members are the true heroes. In my story, they are, because, right, I made a bad choice. They did not sign up for it. Mm-hmm. And I have 3 kids, and my husband, they stood by me, and they didn't have to. And it's amazing to me that the family members, even when I went away, they were punished. My kids were punished because of my poor choice. They no longer had a mother for 7 months because of me. You know, I'm not one to say the system did this. No, I did. I put myself away for 7 months. I'm the one who hurt my kids and my family. So I do a family support group, and it is so dear to me, that piece of it. And I don't think people talk about that enough. And I think a lot of times I go on so many of these podcasts, and people ask questions about my past. And I really don't think after 10 years, what I did matters, what happened matters. But I do think the message I'd like to get out is what happens to family members who did nothing wrong. And I don't know, people don't focus on that so much.
Listen, you bringing me back, because one of the things that I was I'm not young. I was in my early 20s when I got incarcerated. Definitely old enough to know right and wrong. Definitely old enough to be accountable. I too said, "Hey, I'm guilty. I'm caught." You know, I got to learn the gift of accountability. Like that was a springboard into me finding who I am and really being successful. Just using accountability for what it is. And anytime I think about the change that took place in me, I think about my mom, because my mom went through it. You know, she suffered, right? And one thing that it's crazy, like, she actually made me throw the picture away. Like, once I got locked up, she went to a church outing and she took a picture. And anytime she sees that picture, she was like, "You see how I look? I aged so fast. This is when you were locked up." Like, and it's like the pain that I put my family through. If I could do it all over again, you know, it ain't about me or the time I did. It's about the pain that I put my parents through. That I put my family through. Like, it was so selfish, and I didn't realize until I seen the pain that I caused them. And you're right. You know, the family does the time with you. They may not be, you know, they may not be on count, right?
Yeah, but exactly. And the thing about it is I think that I didn't even recognize it, Kevin, until I did. I came home and I started Evolution, and I didn't start the family support group because I have a women's support group on Wednesday nights, and we do a Spanish speaking women's support group on Monday nights. So family members started coming on Wednesdays, and I recognized it's a completely different trauma. So we started the Thursday night, and I needed to find somebody. My kids were also helping other kids get through things. And I'll never forget that first time I had like 8 families on, and I'm listening to them, and I started to tear up. And one of the women said, "Are you okay?" And I said, "You know what? No, because I now just realized what I did to my family." Because these wives, and there was a husband on, and they were talking about their loved one incarcerated, and you know how they called home all the time and asked for money on their books, and they didn't know what to do. They don't know how to move forward. Do they move forward? I had one girl who didn't know if she could even. She said, "You know, I don't really want to change things in the house because when he comes home, I want it to be exactly the same. So
Mm.
I was sitting there and I thought, wow, how selfish that I didn't even recognize that. And that family group has given me such insight into the families and how they do time, not even along with people, they do it in lieu of it and on top of it.
Yeah.
Because they're stuck in a time capsule, but yet they're in this world which is moving forward, where when you're incarcerated, as you know, we're in a time capsule, but everybody with us is also in that time capsule. It's a different world. Well, they're in this world, but everyone around them is moving forward and they aren't. It's a very strange situation, and it's something that I think talking about and getting out is so very important, because those support people, as you know, without that, I could never have been successful coming home.
That's literally how Winning Ways brands ourselves. Like one of the things that in our mission, we're a family-based instilled program. Well, family instilled based program. What is it? Family. So,
Yeah.
And for just speaking for all of us that started Winning Ways, we all said the only reason why we're even able to meet and have this clear mind to start Winning Ways is because of our family support. And
right.
when you're around any one of us, like you see our family are there, like they've been through the ups and downs and they're still there. And without them, no way doing a podcast running Winning Ways, let alone be alive, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
and it goes towards the community too. I mean, Evolution just gave our very first award out to the community, a community member who gives support to people who are incarcerated. We had given it to Charlie Grady this year. And just for his, because they don't have to be helping. They don't have to be giving back. But the difference that they make in supporting other people coming home is the difference between failure and success. And
for sure.
It's something that I don't think we can ever really change the criminal justice system, but we can figure out how to navigate better through it. I'm not somebody who is a huge advocate for policies up. I just here in Connecticut. I mean, we are a national company, but I think that we're in the emotion-based side of things, and that's a tough place to be. Anytime.
It is. I'm shout outs to Kevnisha Boyd from Quality Counseling, because she did a lot of work with Stop Solitary, and she's big on advocacy and going up to the Capitol. And not so much. I'm like you. I'm on ground zero.
Yes.
I'm in the trenches. Let me do the work. Y'all worry about the policies. I understand, but I do appreciate her, because I understand the importance of it. We do need people up there fighting for us and being our voice. But I do get it. I do get where you're coming from too, because that's where I usually lean towards. Like, that's not really my thing. I'm not really into the politics. I really could care less about the politics. I'm more about the people and being of service.
Yeah, exactly. And you got to know your strengths and weaknesses. And my strength is I like leading from behind. So I don't want my face everywhere, although somehow it ends up places, but I really do like leading from behind. I love lifting up people. I love seeing people succeed. And with every program that we've created, seeing that is just, that fulfills me. That's a purpose.
Right.
And we have a new home ownership program that has kind of taken off, and it's incredible. We placed the first woman in a home. And there's a big difference between you come home and there's a house or a home. Like a house is a rental apartment. But when you have a home, it's yours, and you have children that can always come back to that home. So that is our program is working towards home ownership for people who've been incarcerated. And it's amazing when people move in. Like we had one girl, when she moved in, just you could feel the love in the heart. And wow, that's, to me, that's priceless. And I have to give the kudos to all the people up at Washington and even the state of Connecticut. Wow, I couldn't play in that arena. I don't play nice in it.
Yeah, that's a different, yeah, exactly. That's a whole different sport. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
So
that's football. I like soccer.
There you go. Me too. I'm actually a soccer. That's my first sport, soccer. Yes. Yeah, for sure.
That's the ground game.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Speaking of evolution, reentry services, what sparked you to start that, and what did that look like when you started that organization?
It originally, I came full circle. The name of my company when I got in trouble was Evolution Title. So when I came home, I realized how much I've evolved. And that's where I got the name Evolution Reentry Services. And I really just started it for support groups, to support women who are going to prison, in prison, coming home from prison. I didn't have an idea of where it is today and how large it has become, because I just kind of went one woman at a time and try not to. And if you know Charlie Grady, he says this to me all the time: never overpromise and underdeliver. Because there are times over the past 10 years that I have overpromised, and it is something that I never ever want to do. Because when you first come home, you take so much on your shoulders and just helping and helping and helping, and you realize you're just one person.
Right. Yeah, shout outs to Charlie.
Yeah,
Charlie was on the I forgot what episode number, but we had Charlie on a few episodes back, and I love what he's doing, and I love what Hang Time and Her Time stand for.
Yeah.
Amazing work, absolutely amazing.
Oh my God, I went to my first Hang Time meeting 2 weeks ago.
Oh yeah,
I had a bench when it was the Bridgeport one. There was 60 people there, Kevin. I was floored at how amazing this thing was that he created, and he kept trying to describe it to me. I'm like, I don't know, Charlie. It doesn't seem like. And he's like, you got to come. You got to feel it. It's a total emotion. It's like my support groups times 50, because mine are online on Zoom, because we have women all over the country.
Right.
And to be able to have that physical touch is such a different feeling. It really is great. And so we started really small. It just started just me. And I have a title search company. I've been a property title researcher for 30 years. And so I'm very, very fortunate. My daughter was taking that over, and I had some extra time. And I said, okay, I'm going to put my extra time into this that I want to build. And then it kind of got a little bigger. We added in a financial piece to teach Finance 101, because I started recognizing when people came home, they couldn't get a checking account. And so we started helping with that. Then we had the workology, we call it. When people come home, we train them for a career, not a job, because that makes all the difference. And we partnered with a lot of hospitality companies in Connecticut. So I can call up, get somebody a job, and they don't get a background check because they know they're from our company.
Right.
And that's a peace of mind, I think. And then from there, it just kind of evolved with volunteers. And so it's no longer mine, it's the community's. And I do really, and I'm stepping down as executive director December 31st.
Really?
Yeah, I'm going to be I'll stay on the board.
Right.
But I think every 10 years you need to have fresh people come in with new ideas. And I've taken it as far as it can go. And I really want to focus on the home ownership piece. And so I'm excited to do a new venture, only, all the different things. And then going through the barriers, I've had the door slammed in my face so many times. So I decided I'm going to get licenses. And I first licensed with my notary public license. And the challenge, I had to fight it. I did go to appeal and fight it. And shout out to Lewis Reed, because he was the only one who showed up for me at my hearing.
Wow.
And if he didn't show up for me, I probably wouldn't have got it because I fell apart. I was crying. I called the hearing officer a liar. It was really ugly. And I did get my notary license.
Wow, Lewis Reed is a good friend of mine.
Yeah, he's wonderful.
Yeah, that's that's those are the things I love to hear, because like people do this selfless work and you don't even know that they did this until someone else says the story. Like those are the things I'd be like, yeah. I've known Lewis for 2015 I met Lewis.
Yeah, that's when I met him.
Yep.
2016, I think I met him.
Yeah, 15. It's kind of no 15. It was 50 because we worked at Columbus House together.
Yeah.
So when he was there, so shout out to Lewis Reed.
He's definitely special because he said to the judge, he came and he said, "Judge, can I step in here?" And I was crying, and she said, "Please." And he said, "This is what trauma looks like." And pointed to me, and it was just, having to explain yourself and explain the poor choices you made. And I'm happy to do that, but it was the first time and it was difficult.
Of course.
And we're fortunate, you and I, because Connecticut is a welcoming state. And so I got my notary license, I got my master's in criminal justice, and then I recently got my real estate license. And I didn't have to fight. No, I did not have to fight to get my real estate license. And I just applied for my investigative researcher license. That's been a little bit of a fight, but
can you tell me more about that? Because I'm not familiar with that for myself and our audience.
So in the state of Connecticut, you do not have to be licensed to be a title searcher. But in reality, what the definition of a title searcher is what an investigative researcher is, a detective kind of agency. We fall under that. It's special firearms and licensing. And that industry is getting very reckless. So I went up to legislation, and we were trying to get licensing for title searchers. And I found a loophole that it's not even a loophole. It's a law that I really actually had to be licensed, because we do fall under that. So I applied for my licensing, and it's tough. I've had to give them a lot of information, and I think it's wonderful that they're dotting their I's and crossing their T's, and it's through special licensing and firearms. But when that's done, then I can use the word investigative researcher. Now I'm just a researcher, property title researcher.
Okay. I get what you're saying. So that license, okay, then you'll be certified.
Licensed, in the state of Connecticut. Yeah, licensed. So I can do deeper research, and I do some researching for attorneys in the criminal justice space, and I just love research. So it's something that I really hope, and I'm praying I get. And then on the other hand is I'm paving the way for other women to come home, because when they go for their notary license, they can say, "Well, she got it. You gave it to her. Why? Or what do I have to earn or do?" Because it was a path, and you have to keep continuing to make good choices. And I think it gives people hope that you can get these things.
It 100% gives people hope. I think that's one of the things with your story, with the Great Eight, hang time, winning ways. If I can, you can. I'm no different. I'm just a little further down the road than you. That's all.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm no different.
It may be a harder climb, but and it is. You and I both know it's much harder climb. Mm-hmm. But I think if you really start making good choices when you come home, people see your sincerity, and they see that you're trying. And let me tell you, people screw up all the time. And I don't even believe in second choices, because there should be third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh choices. Second chances, because there should be chance after chance. And I try and say, like, when we have kids, babies, when they start to walk and they fall, we don't leave them there. We pick them up. And then they walk again, they fall, and we pick them up again. We don't just leave people behind. So why is it any different when you become an adult, that now it's okay to leave you behind or leave you laying there? I don't think it is.
So it's awesome that you just said that about the multiple chances. My word of the year for 2024 has been grace. Given ourselves, our own self, as well as everyone around us grace, because we're
Yeah.
going to fall short. Like that's
Yeah.
just, we're humans.
Yeah.
So let's give each other the grace. And like we're in this society where everyone makes one mistake and they want to cancel them and they want to,
Oh, yeah.
act like they like no one else has made a mistake. It's like everyone
Yeah,
can point the finger,
exactly.
and it's not cool.
No, it's not, because you know the trauma involved in that. Like every
Mm,
day when you wake up, like, you know, you're so afraid to make any choices because people are going to cancel you, you know? And then if that choice is wrong, am I going to offend this person? And I've decided to say, screw it, because this space is not forgiving. It's funny. We want forgiveness. And I'm talking real, because I really don't, I'm at that point where we want forgiveness. We want people to believe in us, but yet in this space, we don't have that forgiveness for each other.
mm,
And I don't like the judgment that is in the criminal justice space with the very same people who come home who are supposed to be supporting each other.
right.
And I have a big problem with that. I really do. Especially in the financial crimes area. And I never use the word white collar because I hate that word, because white collar crimes are financial crimes, you know.
Right.
And with financial crimes, it's a very different distinction because it's federal, not state. And wow, the judgment, you make one, you know, bad choice, or not even a bad choice. It's a good choice for you, but maybe not for the person who wants their face to be in front of everything. You're canceled, and you think people are your friends. And I'm just kind of a little frustrated with
Well,
that.
talk about that experience. Let's dive deeper into that, because I think, one of the things about the Folded Up podcast is not only do we like to highlight people turning obstacles into opportunities, but we also like to highlight what you went through, or how you felt while you went through those obstacles, and what were the practical steps that you took that someone else could then apply to their life. So let's talk more about that. Like, so when you came home, what was the experience like when it came to people that were your friends of the past or family members of the past? Like, what was that experience like, the judgment and everything like that?
Well, I found out that I had no friends, because true friends stick by you. And I lost pretty much all my friends except two, maybe, stuck by me. And, you know, I have a great family, but I had some resentment because I employed my entire family. And I did it to myself. I had a lot of pressure that I needed to make payroll. I could not let my company disintegrate, because it's my mother, my father, my brothers, my husband, it was just a lot. And I kind of was happy when it all fell apart, because now I got to reorganize. But when I came home, I was like, where do I fit in now? I didn't know where I fit in. And I think most people feel that when they go through things, any trauma. Where do I fit in this world? I'm a square and I fit in no circle. So, okay, well, I need to start making a circle, because I just don't fit anywhere. And there aren't a lot of Lewis Reeds that step in for you or show up.
Right.
So I got involved with a group of people that were financial crimes, and we were supporting each other, but only if you thought the way they thought. So that support came with conditions. And I didn't even recognize that until probably a couple of years ago, when I decided to go a different direction with Evolution Reentry Services. I don't really care what anybody's crime is. I want to help all people. And why are we differentiating? Okay, it was called white collar. Why are you doing that? I mean, what, if somebody had a drug crime, you can't include them in your circle? And I felt very alone. And that was only a couple of years ago. And you're talking 7 years after I came home, and I still didn't know where I fit in. And so I started making my circle a little tighter. And now the people that I surround myself with are people that have the same vision and mindset I do, that really, really want to give back, really want to give back. And there's no conditions. I'm tired of the conditional friendships. And to me, I mean, I was judged so badly by my neighbors and my friends and my peers. Now I turn to a community that I thought would never judge me, and all they did was judge me because I didn't think like they did, because I wanted to help people and didn't care about charging them. And I'm not transactional.
Right.
But I found that community.
That's first of all, kudos to you, because for me, I never even, that is what I didn't experience.
Yeah.
At all. When we first started Winning Ways, I've been blessed with my two brothers that helped start this company. They were just non-judgmental, and to this day, unconditional love. Like those, I get off the phone with Ben or Andrew, who, man, love you, bro. You know what I mean? It's to that.
Yeah.
You know, those my family. And I didn't experience that though, in terms of just like in between that, like, and I'm gonna make it this about me for a second, because I just want to.
Oh, I love that. Let's flip it.
This. When I was and this might ruffle some feathers, but this is just my truth, and this is just my experience. When working at Columbus House, for those that know, it's a local nonprofit to deal with homeless individuals and families, mainly New Haven, but throughout the state of Connecticut. I was a veteran employment specialist, and during my time, you know, usually when a veteran, there's a high percentage of veterans that are homeless are just as impacted, a very, very high percentage.
Yeah.
So I was able to relate and able to serve them. And then my pops, my number one mentor, my other father, is a veteran. So there was a lot of synergy and a lot of synergy with going to prison and being in the army or in the military. Just there's a lot of synergy with that. So I was able to relate with them, and I got a client that was a sexual offender, and one of my colleagues was very judgmental on this individual based off of his charges. And for me, of course, I condone any type of crimes or behaviors when it comes to that, or any crime whatsoever. Yeah. But to me, it was like, how can I go? This is before Winning Ways started, or this is like the very, very, very beginning of Winning Ways. So we didn't even have a bank account yet.
Right. Yeah.
So to me, it was like, how can I? Because when he was saying it, you know, growing up where I'm growing up, being in my experience, it's like, you know, we don't deal with that. But this individual came home humble and really wanted to get his life in order. So I'm like, how can I say I want to start a re-entry nonprofit and exclude
exactly
people that have these type of charges? I can't. Either I'm doing it or I'm not. I can't. Yeah. Who am I to judge? That's actually the thing I don't want to do, because I would be on the other side.
That's right.
You know, so that's really refreshing to hear you say that, because a lot of people don't say that. And a lot of people, regardless of how they feel or what they do, even if they're serving those individuals, it isn't with the same vigor or the same passion and compassion that you or empathy that they would with someone else with other charges.
I agree with you wholeheartedly, because in reality, this is what I don't like about the sex offenders registry. You don't know what the person did. You don't know what their crime is.
Right.
So a 20-year-old who's dating a 17-year-old, the parents get pissed off, and that kid goes to prison. He's the sex offender.
Yeah.
So he was
indecent exposure, being drunk at a bar and using the bathroom side of the building. Sexual offender.
Exactly. You know? And he was judged by a judge who that's her role. That's her job. Or if a a jury of his peers, whatever the case may be. I'm not that judge, and I'm not God. So who am I, not being that judge and not being God, to say, judge them in any way?
Right.
When you're in service, you're in service. It's not, I'm in service only to X, Y, and Z. And people often say to me, oh, well, you say that, but your organization is a women's reentry organization. And I say, yes, but we do have the men of evolution. And men, I always accept men if they want to use my platform, because women have different struggles than men. It's not that we're excluding men or whatever the case may be. It's because as a woman, I connect better with other women. But I can care less what the crime was. We've had a guy come on our women's support group. I don't care if the women are okay with it. What do I care? We're all coming from the same place, and that's called prison. And we're all in the same place, and that's called prison. Because you're in prison in your head when you come home. Mm-hmm. And to get out of that mindset. So I guess, I don't know. I just feel like that judge judged whoever for whatever they did. I don't even ask people what they did. I really don't. It doesn't matter to me. Maybe that's bad. I don't know. Who knows? But it's not that point where, people say now, what did you do? And I say, it's complicated. But I'm over, because again, that question, when is reentry no longer reentry? When you reenter, and I kind of have a problem with that word, because you're reentering society. Well, if you're saying you're reentering society, that means you left society. So that word dehumanizes just as bad as being in prison, because, okay, let's just throw all the people out who make poor choices. And then, okay, we'll let them come back into society, because where were we at that point? It sounds kind of hokey, but it is true. I'm trying not to get hung up on words, but it's sad to me that 10 years later, I'm still considered reentry.
Right.
And right.
Yeah. Is there a time frame? Does it ever leave?
Let's make it right now, Kevin. I say when someone's done with probation, they're done and they're no longer in reentry. That's my thought.
I agree.
You're done. You're done.
I agree.
And, it's just people helping people then.
Or doing like a credit or a credit check, like, right? Like, 7 years, it comes off your credit score.
Yeah.
Like, there should be some type of, like, I shouldn't have to get it expunged. Like, for example, like, I have a violent crime in Jersey. Yeah. If I was in Connecticut, I'd have got expunged years ago. Based on all the work I do, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
in Jersey, nope, it's violent. They won't
at all.
They won't at all.
And
it's like, so this is going to just stay with me until y'all decide to change the law in a place where I have no control of, you know what I mean? And it's like, it is what it is. You kind of just got to.
And that's the thing is, if somebody wants to look at what you did when you were in your early 20s, my God, and you said that you were adult enough to know, you really in your early 20s aren't. And your brain is not really fully developed until you're in your late 20s. So no, you don't have the capacity at that point to really know the what's going to come out of it. Right. You know what your consequences are, but do you really?
So it's funny you say that, because for me, like, I know, like, the science backs up what you just said, and I know that. I just always say I'm accountable. I knew, just because I didn't want to get like hung up on that for my own healing.
Yeah.
Right. But in reality, 100%, my brain wasn't developed. And one of the things, like, it didn't hit me until I bailed out. And then, so I had 2 different bails in 2 different towns. So the crime happened in town A, and then in town B, we were arrested. Right. So in town B, they put me on bail, but town A didn't come set the bail. So I bailed out on town B. Okay. So now I got a warrant for town A.
Oh, jeez.
So this happens in Jersey. At the time, my parents were living in New Jersey, and I went back to Connecticut because I was living in Connecticut, and my mom's calling me crying. They're in the house, marshals, everything, tearing the house up, attic, garage, looking for me. And that's when it really hit me like, oh wow, like it didn't before that. I didn't even think, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It didn't get real till it got real.
Yeah.
So,
and I really don't think it's even the age, because I wasn't accountable until I was in my 40s when I screwed up. Like I made poor choices in my 40s. And then I realized what accountability was. So I don't think anybody who commits a crime really could understand the consequences. And I speak at a lot of universities about this, and the kids will be like, oh, if my brother committed this crime, and I say to them, all of them, I say, how many of you in this classroom go out drinking on a Friday night? They all raise their hands. And I say, really? How many are under 21? You're all committing a crime.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, no, that's different. Well, how is it different? If you get caught, you're going to prison. Well, no, that's not going to happen. You know,
okay.
You don't know what's going to happen until it happens. And then you're like,
right.
shit,
right.
This is what, so it's,
sure.
Human nature's funny.
It is. I want to, because we only got like a few minutes, so I got so many questions we're not going to get to tonight, but we'll I'm hoping a part 2 and have been there in person, because our office is actually in Branford too.
Get out.
Yeah,
I live in Branford.
Yeah, no, I know. Our office.
Oh God, we have some coffee then, definitely.
Oh yeah, 100%. I'm already. Yeah, after this, we're gonna build, because we got a lot of synergy, especially because we do financial literacy and everything. But we'll talk about that another time.
Yeah.
When talk to us about accountability. Like, when did it click, and what did that look like and feel like for you? Like, what was that transformation for you when it comes to the word accountability?
Well, that's funny, because we all have a different definition of what accountability is. There's responsibility and there's accountability. So I felt I took responsibility for the crime, and inside I thought, you know what, this is bullshit, because I'm taking responsibility for everybody in my office who did something wrong. And I was a little angry. Wow. I took accountability when I freed myself and forgave myself and realized I'm not perfect. So accountability, I think, comes with you being accountable to the fact that you are not perfect. You make poor choices, and it's okay to make those choices as long as you move forward and learn. So for me, responsibility was very different than accountability. So I think it was inside Danbury, I really learned what accountability was from the other women. And it's not prison that rehabilitates anybody. You know that. It was the women that were there that helped each other rehabilitate.
And, we talk about our families and the support systems. I know for me, and it sounds like for you too, when you get good people around you in prison, that's a big opportunity for you to make the right choices, especially when you come home.
Yeah.
I had some really good people around me, and to this day, like I go see them to this day. We still talk on the phone. It's such a bond. It's a family bond, right?
Yeah.
And one of the things that, like, I was already in prison, like walking the yard and reading, like I was that guy. Like I was already studying heavy, and they may not been doing as much studying as me, but they were encouraging me to keep doing it. And thank God for them. Yeah.
Yeah, because if I had gotten put in a different room when I first went to Danbury, my outcome could have been very different. I was put in a room with phenomenal women that were like, wow, you had the life. Why'd you and really made me think about what I did, and really was like, okay, so now what are you going to do when you go home? And a couple of these women had a long time.
Yeah.
And I was blessed. Somebody upstairs was looking down on me because I could have gotten put in a different room very easily. And my attitude would have been very different.
Right. Yeah,
So,
for sure. Yeah, we have the same experience. We have a lot of the same experiences.
yeah.
Or
is it the way you take your experiences? Because it's all perception. It really is all perception, right? It's
100%.
kind of like two people in the same situation. Yeah. Could think of it differently.
For sure. Like, we all go through the same experience, but how do we perceive it? How do we process it? And then how do we apply it? Right. Great point. Great point. So I want to touch a little bit more on your current day-to-day life. Like, what are some of the factors, whether it's healthy eating, exercise, anything, like what are the things that you do on a day-to-day that keeps you balanced? Because you have a lot of responsibility.
You're not balanced.
Oh, you're not. So we're just gonna put that out there. We're not okay.
I am a hot mess.
You sound like me. No, listen. I get it.
I get up in the morning and sometimes I'm up till 2 and I'm over capacity. And I'm like, and all I keep thinking is, okay, you can't overpromise, which means you got to finish this. And I am a hot mess. I just, I don't know. I don't do a lot of self-care, emotional self-care. My self-care is seeing somebody else succeed. No one can understand that. And they're like, well, Jackie, no, you have to do for yourself. But that is doing for me because that's what I enjoy. I love school and I love watching other people. And women, we're a different breed, Kevin. We don't lift each other up. Women are crazy. Women want to see other women just fall. I love when another woman that's in our group will call me and say, guess what? I got this. And I'm just like, let's put it up there on social media and, blow it out. And I am a hot mess.
Well, the life of an ED. The life of an ED.
Yeah. My day to day. I'm going to slap your face when I see you.
Hey, listen, listen, from the outside looking in, it's like it's balanced. You got all these different roles, a mother, a wife, researcher, ED.
I'm a grandmother too. So
congratulations.
Yeah, she's a year old. I love her.
Oh, that's sweet.
It's so hard, right? When you want to accomplish so much, and you have all this stuff, and we're in a nonprofit industry. So, and I have another company. So I'm the accountant. I do it wrong. I know. I get people that are my mentors that yell at me. And they're like, well, no, you're the executive director. You're not the accountant. I'm like, well, I am today because guess what? That funding didn't come through. So I have no accountant.
Right.
And, but I'm doing, I think that it's the way I love to be now. I love to be off the cuff. I am not structured. And I've learned to enjoy that because that's who I am. And when people say, no, you got to have that structure. And I just say, no, I don't. It's okay.
For sure. No, I'm with you with that. It's almost, so working at Frontier has been difficult because I haven't worked in corporate or for-profit corporate in 15 years. 15, 16 years, something like that. And it was very, very difficult. And it's still difficult. Yeah. Cause it's so black and white and it's about the bottom line and they're not hiding it. And it's not my passion. So there's that, but it's definitely temporary. So I'm not tripping.
I wouldn't be able to go to work for corporate. They'd fire me in a week. I swear they would, because I don't play nice. I'm like, okay, no, that's wrong. It's got to, how are you helping the bottom line if you do that? I've worked for myself my whole life. So
really?
Yeah, there's a joke in our family, like, oh God, don't go to work for Jackie.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. I am, and I'm my own worst enemy. I have a tough time delegating because I always think that person isn't going to do it this way. And I'm starting to learn to release a lot. My daughter has helped me with that because she's took over my title search company. And now I'm just good with that.
Okay. Okay. So you're better at delegating now.
No, I'm still not good at delegating within Evolution, but I got rid of the title search company. I just moved it to Evolution.
Okay.
Um,
Understood.
you know,
Understood.
I'm a work in progress. What are you going to do?
Hey, every day we got
Yeah.
some work that we can do, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's a beautiful thing.
Yes.
So I want to ask you this final question. For someone that's listening, that's in that place, that fallen down place, and we want to give them some words of advice, words of encouragement, maybe a one-on-one, a new member of your support group, what would you share with them? What would be some advice you would share with someone that's in that rut, and we're looking to empower them so they can succeed?
The number one thing is to reach out your hand and ask for help, because there will be somebody who will grab it for you. I think so many people are so isolated in this, going through the system, and they are so used to not getting help, but there's so many resources to just reach out your hand. Winning Ways, Evolution. I think that that is the first step in making yourself feel like you can succeed, making yourself feel good, because when you reach your hand out and someone grabs it and pulls you up, that's really what it's about, really. Kind of easy, right? It really is. It's just, and that's our biggest problem when you come home from prison. We're so afraid to ask for help.
Right. Well, we got this. It's such a conundrum of embarrassment, guilt, shame. That the trauma of being incarcerated. And so many different types of trauma. Because one of the things, and I know the one of the big topics in the mental health space, specifically finance, is that financial trauma. And that's one of the things we don't even, and that's where it's hard to put your hand out. It's hard looking for employment, getting turned down back to back to back. It's so hard to keep going and getting all that rejection. And it's feeding into that trauma,
Yeah.
And it's tough. It's tough.
I will say this. I'm sorry to interrupt, but one thing is that I work with a lot of women that are kind of on the upscale. I am so glad I never had money, because it is so much harder to have never had money than to have had it and lose it. That's like a lot of women who, they come from very wealthy families, they lose it all. They're the hardest people to help.
Wow.
Because, so I kind of love to say to people too, is that I know you need money to live, but money isn't, to me, I don't care about it anymore. It's, I wouldn't want to have that kind of wealth that, I don't know. Wealth to me is like this conversation.
Right.
Wealth is my family, my husband. That's wealth, right? It's my perception of wealth, at least.
We got the same perception, because I made a promise to myself in prison that I will never prioritize money again, because I know that fueled my bad choices. Was the chase of money, and I don't prioritize it. And I think that's why I don't do. Actually, I do good at my job at Frontier, but that's why I like it, because it's like make money, and I don't do it for the money. I don't. We need it, of course.
Yeah, you have to, because especially now we can't even afford eggs.
Right.
So if you can't afford eggs, why the hell even have money anyway?
Yeah.
So buy a chicken. It's really cheap. My daughter has 3 chickens.
I just seen like 4 chickens in Waterbury the other day.
Yeah. There you go. You never have to buy eggs again.
Brown eggs too. You know what I mean? So, Jacqueline, do us a favor and tell us where. Well, first of all, tell us what services you're currently offering with Evolution, and where we can find you at to get people in touch to get the services.
Okay, so reach out to www.evolutionreentry.org, and we offer support groups 5 nights a week. We offer financial help. We offer employment help. We offer home ownership. We're teaching home ownership stuff and education. And we partner with so many organizations around the country. And we are in the middle of building a resource line, which is 203 re-entry. It's parked right now. So when people come home, they have one phone number to call and your resources wherever you are. So if anybody's listening that's in this space, also reach out, because I'd love to put you on our website and share your resources with people who come to me. So,
great stuff, and whatever we can do. Once we get off of this, we're gonna put something on the books.
Yeah, definitely.
We definitely. There's a lot of.
Yeah, I mean, I'm so excited to put Winning Ways as a resource. I did not know you were in Brantford.
Yeah, we're right in Brantford. So our office is in Brantford. Our office started in New Haven, and then we moved to Brantford. But we're a statewide nonprofit, and hopefully one day to be national. But yeah, we're right down the street. We're right down the street.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah, we're gonna make it happen.
Wonderful. Yeah, definitely. I'm so happy. Thank you for having me on, because this was one of the best podcasts I've done in a long time. It was wonderful.
Thank you. Well, thank you for coming on. Yeah. Certainly, we can keep going. Like, this is my passion. This is our passion.
I could talk for hours.
For hours. That's why we're gonna do a part 2. See what we can do in August and do it an in-person one at the office.
That'd be great.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
So
reach out your hand and I will be there.
Reach out. Reach out. Reach out now. All right. So thank you for joining us. The Falling Up Podcast.